Pretend you're a member of the Shuar tribe in the Amazon rainforest in the early 1900s, and you're just minding your own business, doing your daily routine, when one day some random lady comes out of the forest and says that she's here to help. You're kind of like, okay, don't know who you are, don't know why you're here, but we'll give you a shot. And over the course of the next few days, weeks, months, you realize she's actually really there to help. And you're like thinking how wrong you were to originally assume that she would be useless in your tribe. She fit in perfectly. And now everybody really just looks up to her. She's an inspiration and such a valuable person to have in the community. And that's exactly what Maria Troncatti's life was like. Howdy all, and welcome back to another episode of the Sanctified Podcast, the show where we explore the stories of various saints throughout history, learn about what they did, and how we came to recognize them as saints today. Today, we're going to explore the life of Saint Maria Troncatti, a dedicated missionary and caring sister, and somebody that was canonized today, October 19th, 2025. Maria was born on February 16th, 1883, in Corteno Golgi, in the province of Brescia, Italy. Her family were just humble mountain farmers, and she grew up to be a hardworking young woman alongside her siblings. She was always a faith-oriented child, and she took catechism lessons at her local parish. She wanted to do more for her faith, and when the Salesian Bulletin came to Corteno, she wanted to pursue this life. However, her father said that she was too young to go off and do this on her own. So she agreed to wait until she was 21 and could handle herself no matter what. Maria applied to the Institute of the Daughters of Mary Help of Christians not long after she turned 21, and she joined October 15th, 1905. She professed her first vows in 1908 on November 17th, and this was at Nisa Monferrato. But in 1909, Maria developed a very serious infection and contracted typhoid. Michel Rua visited Maria, and she blessed her. Though her recovery wasn't miraculously fast, she did recover, and she returned to her work as a sister. And after recovering, she wanted to be able to help others that were in ailing health, and so she took a nursing class. She completed this class in 1915, which was pretty great timing since the war to end all wars had just broken out. She would help the injured and sick soldiers, and the Red Cross had her stationed in Varazze at the military hospital. While there, an extremely violent storm broke out, and Maria made a promise to Mary that if her life was saved, she would go on missions wherever she was needed. Well, she was kept safe, and she held up her end of the promise. She asked the Mother General if she could be sent out among the lepers to help. And then, 7 years later, she was sent to Ecuador. Maria arrived in the Bay of Guayaquil in 1925, and from there, she went to Chunchi and worked as a nurse. After a short stay as a nurse in Chunchi, Sister Maria and the rest of the missionary group went into the Amazon rainforest to the true destination of their mission. Their mission was for the Shuar natives in the southeastern region of Ecuador. Immediately after arriving, Maria, equipped only with a penknife, saved the daughter of the chief and earned that tribe's respect as a result. Maria and some of the other missionaries settled in Macas, a village alongside the Shuar tribe, and Sister Maria became known as Mother Maria while there. She taught others the way of her faith, and she saved many lives along the way. The locals even started to refer to her as Madrecita, which means Dear Mother. As time went on, many of the native inhabitants took to Maria's faith because of all that she did for them, and because of how happy her faith made her. She inspired many young couples to be baptized and start a family in their newfound faith, and she made profound leap forwards for the women of the village. They had a new outlook on life, and they felt empowered by what Maria did. Maria even said that one look at the crucifix gives me life and courage to work. And she truly meant it. If she wasn't helping others get better, or just lending a helping hand in general, she was praying and getting closer to God. And this really resonated with the people of the tribe. A smallpox epidemic started to spread across the region, and Sister Maria traveled from village to village to help fight the spread of the sickness. She didn't fear for her own safety, or if she did, she at least never showed that she was afraid. Her only concern was to help anybody she could recover. And that was just the way of Maria's life for as long as she was with the Shuar tribe. Eventually, in 1969, there was a retreat in Sasua, and Maria Troncatti was invited. She gladly accepted. This wasn't the first time she'd been invited to such events, and she would make an effort to go to as many as she could because she wanted to spend time with the people. She wanted to share her experiences, share her faith, and this was just a great opportunity to do that. On August 25th, her plane took off. But not much time passed before the plane experienced a malfunction and crashed. Maria did not survive. The Shuar Federation sent an announcement over the radio that our mother, Sister Maria Troncatti, is dead. Since her death, there have been a few miracles attributed to Maria. The first one occurred actually during her lifetime, and I suppose you could argue this one doesn't quite sound so miraculous, but just remember that this is the early 1900s in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, so it takes on a lot of weight given the circumstances. And this goes back to her saving the daughter of the chief of the tribe. So the chief actually told Maria that if she didn't save the daughter, he was going to kill her and all of her fellow missionaries. So there was a lot of pressure on Maria. She was scared. She knew the injury was already infected because the local witch doctors tried doing some sort of healing. They dumped all sort of weird stuff into it, and you could just tell by looking at it, it was bad. And the injury itself was a bullet wound that was close to the girl's heart. So it was a very dangerous operation given the time and location. Maria was trembling because she knew what all of this meant, what would happen if she failed. And she knew the likelihood of failure. She prayed to Mother Mary to steady her hand, and her hand became stable, and she completed the operation quickly and without further complications. The second miracle, the one that pushed forward her beatification, was the healing of Josefa Yolanda Solorzano Pisco in 2002. Josefa was the mother of 5 children in Ecuador, but she came down with Plasmodium falciparum, which is an extremely severe malaria. And by the time the miracle occurred, she was already experiencing multiple organ failure. Father Edgar Ivan Segarra prayed a novena through Maria Troncatti because the then modern medicine had done all it could do. People described Josefa as already being dead. She looked emaciated and empty, and she really couldn't move at all. But then, out of nowhere, she was just better. There's no sign of the malaria and organ failure, and she just went back to living her life like it never even happened, though she was always thankful and faithful to the woman that saved her life from heaven. And so with this miracle, Maria Troncatti was beatified November 24th, 2012. Finally, the miracle that was proved and gave the final push for Maria's canonization was the healing of Jua. On February 2nd, 2015, at 10 a.m., Mr. Jua, a member of the Shuar people that Maria worked so closely with, was sharpening the blade of a piece of machinery when the grinder he was using broke and a part of it struck his head. It broke his skull and severed a portion of his brain. His son and 2 coworkers rushed him to the health center nearby, who in turn rushed him to the Taisha hospital via helicopter. After first aid at Taisha, they transferred him to the Ambato hospital, which was better equipped to handle his condition. By the time he arrived, it was 17:30, which is 5:30 p.m. Immediately, the operating surgeon noted how severe this injury was and just how hard the recovery would be if he even survived at all. Jua was transferred to the ICU after his operation and had hemiplegia on his left side. Basically, this means his left side was paralyzed. And he also couldn't speak at all. On February 18th, so 16 days later, Jua was discharged and moved to a house that was rented in Macas. His family and the Daughters of Mary Help of Christians of Tuitin had already begun praying for the intercession of Maria Troncatti. On Jua's bed, they placed a picture of Maria and told Jua to entrust himself to her. No medical rehabilitation was completed, though. It was just him in his house laying in bed and everybody praying for him. About a month later, Jua had a dream of Sister Maria Troncatti, And in this dream, Sister Maria assured Jua of his recovery and promised him that the next morning he'd be able to walk and talk again. She asked him where it hurt and massaged him there, and she applied an ointment to help, as well as tapping his mouth with her finger. When he woke up, he could immediately tell something was different. He started to recover despite no medical work being done or prescriptions being taken to heal. His family bared witness to this miraculous recovery, and in April of that very same year, so just 2 months after that very intense surgery, he went to the Cathedral of Pircima of Macas, and the doctor who operated on Jua saw him and said it was as though he was looking at a dead man who had been resurrected. Just 2 years later, Jua was totally healed. He does still have scarring and visible damage, but it really doesn't affect him at all now. And with this, Maria Troncatti's cause for canonization was pushed forward, and she's canonized today, October 19th, 2025. Today, her body is in Sosua, and her grave is a very popular destination for people on pilgrimages in the region. One of the other missionaries that worked with her had this to say about Maria. She was the very embodiment of simplicity and evangelical shrewdness. With what exquisite motherliness does she win hearts? She finds a solution to every problem which, in the light of the facts, always turns out to be the best solution. She never forgets that she has to deal with the weak and sinful human beings. I have seen her treat human nature in all its aspects. Even the most miserable, she treats with them with mastery and kindness that is spontaneous and natural to her. And just a quick side note, in case you're wondering or are already aware, there are 6 other saints being canonized today. And I will cover each of them, but I only had time to get through Maria Troncatti's story for you today. By the end of the year, though, we'll have gone over all of the others. And the others, including Maria Troncatti, are Saint Bartolo Longo, Saint Jose Gregorio Hernandez Cisneros, Saint Vicenza Maria Poloni, Saint Maria Carmen Rendias Martinez, Saint Peter Toro, Saint Ignatius Shukrala Maloyan. As always, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. So, what are your thoughts on Saint Maria Troncatti? What about her healing miracles? I hope you found her story interesting and maybe even inspiring. I look forward to learning about what you think of Saint Maria Troncatti. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to support the channel, you can subscribe, download the episode, like, comment, share it with your friends, or send me a suggestion on a saint that I can look into by emailing me at sanctifiedpodcast@proton.me. You can find the show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Podbean, and more. Just search for Sanctified Podcast, and we should have a few episodes uploaded on whatever service you're using. Take care, and have a wonderful day.